Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. It seems logical that if you are to spend a lot of money at public expense, that you should at least have the information you need. You should have consulted with all the necessary experts, done your homework, know exactly what you're talking about. That way you can implement something that is good, efficient, value for money and works. If, however, you are determined to press ahead with something purely for political reasons, regardless of what the experts say, then obviously the correct thing to do is to not have those meetings. Don't hear what the experts have to say. And that way you can proceed in the full knowledge that you are right, rather than having the experts in the field telling you that you are a complete and utter moron. This story is about Lorna Slater. Which of those two things do you think happened? Did she consult the experts or did she not take the meeting? Oh, well done. You got it in one. Let's have a look at this story to see why Lorna Slater refused not once, not twice, but 3 times to refuse to meet with the experts in the glass industry, because she knew in advance what they were going to say. They were going to say, "It's an appallingly bad idea, Lorna. Go away and think of something better." But that's not what she wanted, is it? Let's look, see, and laugh at yet another moronic decision by Lorna to not even have a meeting with the very people who know everything about the problem she had. Here goes. So, Lorna Slater under pressure over the refusal to meet the glass industry experts about the failed deposit return scheme. The story that won't go away. Every day there's something new. There's always something new, because the woman is a complete moron. The Scottish Greens Minister refused to meet with British Glass to hear their concerns about implementing glass bottles in the ill-fated recycling initiative, which collapsed earlier this year. Their concerns were that they needed the scheme as it currently was, where they got this free glass back in that they could use to make this lower quality glass, and it made it free for them. It was the only way it was efficient. Whereas Scotland and the Greens, the Scottish Government and the Greens, they wanted the ownership of all that glass, which is what had to be taken into the scheme, so they could sell it to the glass industry. And had she spoken to the glass experts, of course, she'd have learnt things that may have changed her mind. We can't be having that in a party that never gets anything wrong. So the SNP and Lorna Slater have serious questions to answer over their refusal to meet with glass industry experts about the ill-fated deposit return scheme. Ministers refused 3 meeting requests with British Glass, who represent the sector from creation to recycling. All 3 of the meeting applications came as the Scottish Government were designing how the initiative would work, but they were met with resistance. British Glass long called for glass bottles to be removed from the recycling project due to concerns about it increasing the use of single-use plastic and destroying the bottle bank glass recycling, which is incredibly effective. 90% of all glass under the current scheme recycled. It goes in, it's free. Other than the cost of a few bits of transport to get it back up to the processing sites, it's effectively free. They melt that down. It's not high quality glass, but it goes into construction glasses and things like that. It is absolutely wonderful, and because it's there, it's brilliantly green for the environment. If, as they wanted, they took ownership and then had to sell it to the glass industry say, no, we can't make a profit if we're paying for it, so no, you can keep that glass. What are the SNP going to do with all that glass? There's nothing. Nobody wants it, except the glass industry. They only want it if it's free. It's madness. They repeatedly tried to air these concerns in person with the SNP Green ministers, but were rebuffed. The Scottish Daily Express can reveal that the organisation tried to organise 2 meetings with Miss Slater and one with the then Net Zero Secretary Michael Matheson, a man who failed at environment and has now gone on to fail in health. However, all 3 were rejected due to diary pressures. Yeah, quickly, put something in the diary. I don't want to speak to these people because they may tell me that I can't do what I want to do. The first was on May the 28th with Mr Matheson, but he insisted he was too busy and instead urged British Glass to remain engaged with them, the officials, as the scheme was implemented. Unbelievable, isn't it? Then, when Miss Slater was put in charge of the initiative following the 2021 Holyrood elections, the glass experts once again got in touch on the 20th of December that year, but could not secure a meeting. She doesn't want to take these meetings, it's quite clear, because she knew if she took the meetings, she would be forced to record the minutes of the meeting, and it would show that the glass experts had given her a reason not to include glass in that initiative, and that went against what her policy was, because they are incapable of change. They're incapable of admitting that they got anything wrong. The excuse for this meeting not happening was that the minister noted that the relative merits of including glass in DRS versus extended producer responsibility were addressed in great depth in advance of laying the DRS regulations in May 2020, and that the economic and environmental case for including glass in DRS is clear. That is not an answer. That is ministerial bull, isn't it? That's their way of saying, well, we can't really think of anything. We need to have glass. We want to ownership glass, but we can't really say that. So here's some bureaucratic doublespeak hiding the truth. The truth is they needed ownership of the glass and they weren't getting it, and so they were stamping their tiny little green feet. Tossers, aren't they? Finally, British Glass attempted to air their concerns once more on December the 19th, 2022, but were again rebuffed with no proper excuse given, just that the Scottish Greens Minister was unable to speak to them. They were told that concerns that they raised in their invitation was addressed in her response before on the December 21st letter. And it's just bullshit. It's utter consistent bullshit from these people. They cannot speak the truth. The fact is, it would never work for the glass industry to have glass in their recycling scheme when the glass's current recycling scheme was so efficient, so good, and benefited everybody. But that wasn't good enough because the SNP Greens need to micromanage everything. And that is the problem that they have. Especially when you've got Patrick Harvey, the micromanaging midget, who sits there and wants control of everything as well. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, the inclusion of glass was what ultimately caused the government to bottle implementing the scheme in March 2024. After it had been delayed for the third time. The UK government gave permission to go ahead, but only if they removed glass bottles, because the UK government knew how good it was, the current scheme, and the glass industry had spoken to the UK government, and the UK government agreed glass does not need to be included. And when it goes nationwide in late 24, it won't, or is it 25, early 25 I think, but anyway, it won't include glass because the glass industry need it. Anyway, this caused anger among the nationalists, who ultimately ripped up their proposals like children. Look at me, I can't have it how I want it. Tossers, aren't they? But not before claiming that the decision would cause 600 million glass bottles to litter Scotland's streets. Well, they're not there now. Why would they suddenly appear because a scheme hasn't been implemented? Lorna, please point to the 600 million bottles that are currently lining the streets of Scotland. Go on. If you can do that, we'll let you have glass bottles in there. No? Stupid tart. Anyway, they were called out by this lie, because it is a lie, by British Glass, who said, astonished by Lorna Slater's answers to Fergus Ewing and Murdo Fraser today. The 600 million glass bottles in scope are not subject to a remelt target, and even ZWS in 2017 said in the report that the recycling rate of glass bottles was between 70 and 90%. It's massively high. Curbside collections can be improved in Scotland, and the powers contained in the forthcoming Circular Economy Bill and through the UK-wide EPR can achieve even higher glass recycling rates. So they don't need this new scheme. All they need to do is take the existing scheme and just tweak it, and bang, and you're up to maybe 95%. And that is higher than the proposed rate under the DRS. And it doesn't need all the BS, all the extra layers of bureaucracy, all the extra costs. It's just away it goes. Efficient, quick, nice, sweet. All the things, of course, that the SNP Greens don't want. They hate efficiency. We don't think the Minister understands glass recycling and offer her again an opportunity to meet with us so we can help achieve a higher recycling rate, which is very much in industry's own interest. Of course it is. The industry wants cheap glass. It wants a high recycling rate. The Scottish Tories blasted the government for their refusal to listen to concerns from those who wanted to help with the scheme. MSP Maurice Golden, the guy you've just seen, told the Scottish Daily Express the SNP and Green ministers have serious questions to answer as to why they refused to meet with this crucial stakeholder 3 different times. British Glass repeatedly raised their concerns over how businesses would be affected, yet the Nationalists completely ignored their pleas, and instead the Scottish Government reverted to type and picked a constitutional fight, knowing full well the scheme would then have to be severely delayed. And that's all it was. It was a political football. They had really no intent to go ahead with it. They knew from the start that Glass was a non-runner, but she refused to have the meeting because that would officially have made it that she knew rather than just privately knowing it. And the last thing she wants was officially knowing that it was a bad idea. Look at her. Honestly, you could put a little black hat on that and she'd look like the child catcher out of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. She's a creepy woman though, isn't she? Very skeletal. Anyway, I shall round off there. I shall come up and we'll finish this piece. There's no getting around it, you know. The Greens are all morons and they know the truth. They knew Glass wasn't there. But because their original idea had Glass in it, and they knew that if they owned the Glass, we could make money, they had to stick with it. They weren't prepared to change. They weren't prepared to listen to experts because they thought they were the experts. Hubris, arrogance, conceit and ignorance. It's a heady mixture and it's how you get ahead in the Green Party. And also, it seems, in the SNP. But into that one, you need to add stupidity as well. And a lot of arse licking. Anyway, I shall round this video off. I hope you enjoyed it because I always enjoy taking down the Greens a peg or two. And if you have enjoyed it, do please hit that subscribe button. I think it's worth it. We do a lot with videos. We really push them out. And so it'd be nice to see the numbers go. Because the higher the numbers go, the more the truth goes out wider. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and go and get yourself a nice shirt. And goodbye.